Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.
That's about it. I mean, for me, it's just memories and families and good times and just recording my work, I guess. At the moment, it's just I'm working on my work. I can't really take amazing photos. I'm not extremely good at it, but that's all it is, really, for me. That was a long answer.
Okay, so, I've been chasing after you. Give me some photos. You gave me 3 photos. And I know it feels a bit awkward, but don't worry. It won't be awkward. We're going to talk about...
It'll all be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fun. It should be fun. I hope.
That's you. That's the usual conversation with you, once every 5 years. Talk crap. Laugh your head off.
Don't be mean.
So good.
So
and now it's recorded and it'll be proof. There'll be proof.
Okay, fine. So okay, well, you know what? I'm going to put you on the spot. You ready? Are you ready? Okay, so here's the thing. I grew up with both my parents working, and in the Sadon El Fassi clan, women are very strong. So I grew up with very strong female figures, and, I always was very conscious of my mom working hard and being a really strong sort of feminist, even though she would call herself a feminist, or maybe she would, but I was always really conscious of the fact that that's her, like a very strong woman. And I tend to be attracted to strong women. Daline's a very strong woman. And, when I came to Israel when I was 17 and I hung out with you and your friends, I was really kind of discovering you as a person. And ever since then, and actually I've always known you to be this strong, independent, full-on woman. And then when I came to Sydney and hung out with you, it's like I love the cloud of friends you have, because it's like everybody else was like a normal human being. And then there's Maya, who's just like a force of nature. You're full-on. Like, you are definitely full-on. And yeah, just give it back. Just give it. No, but I mean it. I mean it. Look at me. Look at my eyes. I'm being fucking serious. I'm being serious.
Thank you.
You think it's a family thing? Like, what is it? Our grandmother was pretty dragon strong, full on. But, like, what was your mom like? Because...
Well, I think it's a combination, right? I mean, if we think of our grandmother and what she endured and, dragging along 6 children, single mom, making an aliyah to Israel. I mean, at the time, that would have been, like, crazy, absolutely crazy. Mm-hmm. And she did it, and it was like, you have to do it, right? Whether we got that from those genes, I think women in general are pretty strong. I have yet to meet a woman that is not strong. And maybe it's the women that are attractive. Maybe it's just the ability to see that in others. So, you saw that in your mom, and then you can identify some of those qualities in other women around you, and then you appreciate it and you attract it. And I think, my husband will probably say the same thing. He likes those qualities. But, we all have our moments. I'm sure that doesn't mean if you're a man or a woman, we have places where we go to where we don't show it. But when we need to turn up, we turn up full force and ready to go. And whatever it is that our purpose or soul or desire or whatever it is that we want to do. And so whether it's genetic, whether it's, something that you work on, I think that's a bit of both. There's something that you can develop and something that we kind of were born with. But someone just said to me the other day, like, you're phenomenal. Like, you came here, you're on your own. And because I went into the whole, what have I really achieved? And then she started listing all these things. I'm like, huh. And she said, really? Like, you have no support here. When you first got here, you kind of just turned up and in a foreign country and this and that, and you made your friends and your businesses and husband and this and that, and you built a life. And I'm like, I guess. So yeah, it's a combination. Look, but hey, I've had my moments of total weakness, but I guess, it's about getting through them, right? To get you
of course,
stronger. And what is it? It's your bounceability. So I don't think it has anything to do with, a woman or a man. It's just
Right.
The more you fall, the more you get up, and the more you continue.
Right. I was just invited to speak at this series called Failability or something. And the idea being that rather than always talking about how people succeed, you talk about how you failed.
Lovely.
So for people to really appreciate how you reach achievement and success or whatever you want to call it, you have to fall. And if anything, for every time I have succeeded, there are probably 8 times where nothing really happened and 1 time when I really failed.
Mm.
Yeah, I've been chasing after you. You are in Sydney, Australia. You sent me 3 images. I know you just finished a kind of a seminar course. And also from the posts that I see from you, how would you describe the stage you're in your life right now?
I think the last 10 years was like a whole bunch of far out. This is fucked.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like one crash after another, and I'm like, what is going on? And now I feel like it's all going to come together. All these massive crashes, and they're just going to turn into this full, as Tony Robbins calls it, massive action and moving forward in like full speed. But I'm ongoing with these courses. So the
Oh,
picture that I've
okay.
sent was actually from this morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the post was just a little light bulb that fell today during the course. But I guess this has
Hmm.
all been a build up of all these years of like 25 years of personal development.
Right. I recognize myself in a lot of this as well.
Mm.
So, of the 3 photos, which one would you like to talk to first? And by the way, you always have a very signature look, and I love the hair. So, which one?
Yeah, thanks. That's good. You got it before a haircut. It's getting too long.
I'm just looking now at the 3 you sent. Are you in an ice bath?
Yeah, I just did it the other day. I haven't done an ice bath in a long time. And I said to Bill the other day, can you get some ice for me? I just want to do it here. And,
Nice.
by the time I jumped in, as you can see, there wasn't much ice left. It was still cold, but it
Why did
wasn't
it take so long for you to get in?
to do an ice bath. Oh, it was just it was a really, really hot day. And then
Ah,
in hindsight, we should have bought 5 or 6 bags of ice. We only got 3. And thinking, we'll be
ah.
right once we put the water in. And the water took forever to actually fill up. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to jump in and then we'll just move the ice over here.
Nice, nice, nice. So which picture do you want to go into first?
um,
Let's do the what's that called? The cartoons. It's the one with it's a grid of 9 images. They're drawings. Are you the one who drew them, or is it somebody else who drew them?
no, so let me tell you about it. So this is well, it's a project that's been going on for quite some time. I bet you remember my friend Declan from school.
Yep, I absolutely 100%.
When we were 15, we sat at a coffee shop and he just came back from his psychologist and he goes, I have to do this thing for you. And I'm going, what is it? He goes, let me just do this. And he drew this sketch, which is behind all these paintings. Maybe you'll be able to identify it later. He drew it and he said, okay, you need to complete each frame to a drawing, give it a name and a number in the order that you do it. And I went, okay. So I did it. And it's really interesting that we're talking today because it was doing my head in. I couldn't find that original piece. Anyway, that piece of paper, when I met Bill, fell out of a book. And I cannot tell you how it came from Israel to Australia from when I was 15 to when I met Bill 17 years later. And Bill was like, what is this? And I told him and I said, hey, I should do this with you. All you got to do is complete this to a drawing, give it a name and a number. And then you sit and you talk about it. And there are basically 8 different aspects in each box. There's 8 different aspects of who you are. And of course, this grid, there's 9 of them there. So there's 9 different people that were given the same diagram and they all came up with something different. And then, it's the meaning that you gave it, but each box is actually locked on one representation
Mm.
or an aspect about you. So it's actually, I call it figure eight, as in figure it out. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really a map to who you are. It's incredible. It gives you 8 different aspects of who you are and how you say yourself. How do you grow and develop? How do you feel about freedom? How do you feel about death? How do you deal with conflicts? What do you consider your home? What is sex for you? And the last one is like your way of thinking. So there's no order to this, right? These are all
Mm.
parts of you. And the most beautiful thing about it is that every time I did this with a person, they end up going, "Oh, this is great. I really love this about myself. This might need a bit of work, but there's a great sense of self-acceptance and self-love, and then they can, they can focus on something that they want to change." So it's a
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
objective way that they develop, and I just encourage them or facilitate them to kind of talk about it a little more and connect the dots with
Oh,
a
wow.
better understanding.
So for people who are listening, what you see is essentially a grid of 9 photos of papers or pages, and each sheet of paper is divided into there are 4 squares, and they're essentially shot from above with the lighting kind of flat, and you see pencil or pen drawings from I'm assuming different people, and yeah, so the top left, it's just a lot of personal drawings of kind of illustrations of various things. Like in one of the boxes, there's like a really close up of a face with a strange nose. Another one has these many hearts, and another grid. It's like yeah. So it's I guess from Maya's. Did I even introduce you, Maya? I just said Maya, but did I even introduce you?
You said Maya a few times, but yeah, no.
You are my cousin Maya.
Maya from Sydney. Yay!
Whoop
Oh, yeah.
whoop.
Well, you kind of indirectly, we were talking about our grandmother.
Yeah, right. So you've done these drawings, and have you done these just as a personal project, or have you done this actually with people, for people, as a kind of self-development for them as a facilitator?
So interestingly, you're asking me where am I in my life? I feel like I'm in a very pivoting point where this is going to become my life, my project. I think this would be something that I will develop into my complete work. Like I really feel
Oh
this is my
wow.
purpose in bringing about equality and acceptance, and also a way to express. So my main vision is to work with teenagers to help them identify who they are, what they are, but specifically around sexuality and expression around that. So this
Mm-hmm.
is just a tool that would. So when I've put it together, like I've put them all together and then put it in a grid. So I've taken individual photos and made one photo out of it, to create sort of like an ad, if you like, or my vision would be that all these papers will be hanging along the room. So if we were doing a workshop, it'll be,
Mm.
"Hi, I'm Ran, this is me," right? And then everyone will
Mm-hmm.
know all these different parts, whoever's participating in the workshop. So this was just the beginning of me putting them together. So far, I have done them only individually.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm trying to work on how to do this in a group.
Wow.
And I'm not even sure if it's going to work.
Right.
Like technically, I need to work out how to do it, how to ask the questions. Do you go, because everyone will have a different focus,
Yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
look at. So it
Mm-hmm.
might go a little bit differently. But this is where I'm heading. So I'm really hoping to develop this to something a little bigger to reach obviously more people, but specifically to create workshops for teenagers and their parents.
Wow. When you moved to Australia, how old were you?
23.
23. And
You were about the same. When did you move to Hong Kong?
oh no, that was years later. I was 33
Oh, really?
ish. Yeah. The work that I do in Hong Kong as a consultant and all that stuff, I work a lot with entrepreneurs and business owners and startup people. And so when you arrived in Sydney, how long did it take before you started your own business?
Now, it took a while, 23, and then I started studying beauty, and then I was working in a college for a couple of years. Then I was working for someone for a little while, and then I finally opened Yofi Skincare, working from home.
Hmm.
So maybe I'd say like 8 years.
Wow. Yeah, so when I stayed at your place to go to that conference, are you
Yeah,
still doing that? Are you still doing that? Or no, you've moved on from that?
I am still doing that, but I just got off the phone with someone who might take over, so I
Oh,
can do
wow.
this. That's what I said. I am at a real pivoting point. So, I mean, we'll see. I still really want to take care of my clients because they mean a lot to me, and I feel like I actually really enjoy what I do. So I would like to reduce it maybe to 2 days and then do that and develop that until I have, at least until it's making money and I
Hmm.
can step away
Hmm.
from the beauty. But also, I think at the moment it's just in a developing stage. But yeah, still to answer your question, I'm still doing it. Yeah.
It's amazing. So
I would love to. Maybe one day we can sit together and I can do that with you, and you can
sure.
have that whole experience. It's quite
Yeah, yeah.
quite amazing.
Can you do it many times for the same person, or once you kind of know the mechanics, it kind of not ruins it, but it sort of changes it?
So here's the thing. This is my original one.
Hmm.
I don't know if you can see it,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And in the back of it is Bill's, right?
Hmm. Oh, sweet.
And it hasn't really changed. I think if you, I mean, obviously this is going into your unconscious mind. This is how it's designed. So
Hmm.
if you go into it knowing what box you're filling in,
Yeah,
it
so I
defeats
mean,
the purpose.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So when it's a kind of like a naked, when it's just got the diagram, it's not
Yeah,
here, but when it's just a plain diagram and you don't know what each box represent, you just go with it. And I really encourage people to just go with what comes, right?
yeah,
Not to
yeah.
think about it too much. Just go for it. And then when we talk about it, it's like
That's where,
it
yeah,
makes sense. It makes perfect sense, and it works every time. And so, look, I was thinking of creating an app that you can maybe do that, or how do you go about it to not. I mean, eventually, when it'll be out there, people will know what each box represents, so
sure.
maybe they'll know it. But I think once you really sit in that intimacy, you get there.
Here's what I see on your face. Here's what I'm getting out of your
Hmm.
voice. Here's what from your words. Okay, so when I see this diagram, whatever, it's not magic, but it's magical in that you put down and you create whatever sequence or whatever, and yeah, it just represents what's in your head, and then you give it meaning. And I think that having you there as a facilitator to comment and to guide the client or whatever the person to discover what's may have been in a blind spot, that they're just like all of a sudden like an awakening, like, oh, I didn't realize that that's me. And you say, well, okay, now you do. How do you move from there? I think that's probably very powerful. And what I can see on your face is that this stage of life where you're in right now, especially trying to help teenagers who are, I mean, of all the people who are alive, that's when you probably hit your greatest crises. It's a very generous thing to want to do, right?
100%. And you're spot on. And so the last couple of years, I acquired a counseling diploma, and then I got into the NLP, and I'm now repeating the NLP and doing the NLP master prac. So it will just give me more tools on how to navigate conversations and not be scared when I can see someone's feelings come up, how to be able to guide them through it
Hmm.
safely, but kind of, I don't like the word breakthrough, but really get them to really feel, what is happening, and
Hmm.
be okay with it, because that's who they are. This is really essentially how you've been wired. But then you can look at it and go, okay, this is mom and dad's contribution to the way I think and operate.
Mm-hmm.
I now, as an adult, and as I want to create my own choices, I can look at it and go, I really like that. I don't really like that. I would like to change that. And so that's spot on. And I think, and this is what I said before, that the main thing that I've noticed working with, because I've been doing this with all different people, different ages, different, sort of backgrounds, but it's completely common that the conclusion at the end of everything is there's such a strong self-acceptance. And I think if teenagers will accept, hey, this is who I am. So like there's good, there's bad, there's yin and yang, there's, there's something to correct, there's something to improve on. I think that's a great place if teenagers would feel that way.
Yeah. So how far along are you with this business? What I want to say is, if you've got a website, let's promote it. Let's get you some people.
So it's funny because I did have a website for like literally 5 minutes. We got onto one of those GoDaddy thing and we created it quickly because I'm very fortunate to have Bill to just throw it together.
Right.
And then we didn't decide on a name, so we just dropped it. So no, I do not have the website, and it's still in the process of, like I said, I still need to sort of master my craft, if you like. So working one-on-one is fine. Is working in a group is a different thing. So one of my challenges was to create. Maybe it's not possible with adults to actually create a group of, say, 4 people, complete strangers. I think would work better to sit in a Zoom meeting and do this process together.
Wow.
So again, this is still in the
early
creative
stage
side of how to put it together. Yeah. But
wow.
I have been working on it from different angles with different people. So it'll come together.
So which photo would you like to move on to the next one? Do you want you in the ice bath?
Let's see what's next. Yeah, the ice bath. So the ice bath is, it's when I think about it, it's been the cold showers and the ice bath. So I had a great mentor at the gym that I was at, and he's the one that started all this for me, and following Wim Hof technique and all that sort of stuff.
Wim Hof, yes,
and,
nice.
Yeah. And we've had such a really hot day, and I've had a bit of, I don't know if it's an injury or just swelling in one of my ankles, and I thought I do feel a little inflamed in my body, and I'm like, what will be better than this? So I've been doing cold showers, but they're not as good as the ice bath, and a little bit. Of course, this was a bit of Bill, take my photo. I'm going to use it at some point. So that was a bit annoying, but I did do the meditation before, and then he left the room, and I just stayed there for about 5 minutes. And
nice.
Yeah, look, it's brilliant. I'd love to do that every week, if not every day. But again, the mentor, he helped me with smoking. So I stopped smoking 3 years ago, thanks to him. And that was part of the process. It was the whole, break the habit practice, that you're in control of your mind. And when I started doing the cold showers, like I talked to everyone about it. I'm like, you got to do it. You just got to do it. Just do the goddamn cold shower.
The coach what?
How cold shower.
Cold shower. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so, I know you've done it as well. And
sure.
I'm pretty sure your sister and her jumping into a river. And
sure.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think, we should all switch that little lizard brain off and take control of our thoughts and our beliefs and change them. And it's a great tool to do it.
The photograph is awesome. It's like you're basically, just your chest up, now that we know that you posed it. I mean, there's not tons of ice in the water. It's a little bit of ice. It's like you're having a little cocktail bath. It's not a full on ice bath, but it's like a cocktail, just a few little ice cubes. Your big sardine eyes, like bang. And so one of the things that I think is really I'd like to touch on, or I'd like to use this as a starting point, is that whenever I've gone to hang out with you and your friends, and it's the circle, it's the culture, it's the all of it, whatever it is. One of the things that really kind of used to bug me when I was in like growing up in high school and whatever is surrounded by people with the like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do and then I'd go to meet you guys and it was just like, no way, man, you have to live. You have to fucking live. You have to kind of do stuff. And so I just remember your group of friends and hanging out with them. And it was just like, no, let's go. We're going camping. We're hitting in the car. We're doing something like kind of wild and push the envelope and whatever. And this photograph of you in the ice bath, to me, reminds me of that sensibility and that feeling of just going crazy. We all have to be a little bit crazy and to sort of shock our systems a little bit.
I think that's a little sad, Donnie.
Yeah.
Because, because
your whole family's freaking crazy.
my brother Adam is a bit like that. My brother Shlomi is becoming like that. My dad is definitely like that. He cannot sit still. It's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And I'm the same, right?
Yeah.
Look, if he would have been up to my husband Bill, we'll probably just be sitting around doing not doing nothing. He's doing something is very different to let's do something. But yeah, I'm kind of a little bit of a ping pong. I just want to keep trying different things, doing different things.
I like the word kfitz. You know, like the word kfitz, like it's like an uncoiled spring that's just waiting to kind of jump.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I think about you now, maybe after a long day of the Zoom meetings. Is that it? Have you spent the whole day doing Zoom meetings?
Yeah, pretty much for 9 hours.
Exactly. So this is you basically after a long day. It's not like finding you on a Saturday night. Let's go crazy kind of energy level.
Yeah, but the crazy eyes. I mean, it's just like, you put a camera on me, I want to pull a face.
Yeah.
A little bit silly. But Bill did say, come on, give us a face like you pretend you're cold or something. And I'm like, I don't know.
Leave me alone. So let's move on to the third photo then. Is the third photo the actual training that you're doing in the program? Or is it like, are you giving the training or are you a participant?
No, I'm participating, but I'm participating as a coach, as in I'm a qualified coach, but it's really interesting because I've done this training before. So he's been putting me on the spot, which is quite good. He's only done it once as being the first day, and I had to be someone's coach, and that was a little bit intense. But I guess I'm in this to get an experience of what it would be like coaching in that group. So it's great. I just like to repeat the training because when you evolve a little bit, you just hear things a little bit differently.
Sure.
So, yeah, what you can see there, you can see my little Qantas bag. That's funny. I was just reaching out for it as if you can see it. My little Qantas bag, which has my passport in it, which is what may be happening anytime soon. And what else is there? My earphones and my little journal. And yeah, I've basically had like a whole heap of notebooks here, kind of writing all different million notes. My little circle of light there, that kind of really is just to give me the light that I need for the Zoom meeting. That's it. So he just asked us to take a photo, a selfie in the beginning of the course. And then at the end of the course, that's what we're going to do, take another selfie.
What's the idea behind this course?
The NLP course, the Neuro-Linguistic Programming. I've done it in April, and I'm doing it again just to kind of imprint the information a little better and just to see it from a coach perspective, like how to train coaches. So my notes are very different now because I know this stuff, but it's landing a little bit differently. Also, it's nice to see how I'm also listening to people a little different. Where in the beginning, it was all about me. It was about my own personal development when I did it. But now I'm listening from a different perspective.
So in the photograph, you've done a selfie. So your face is, you are taking up about a third of the photo on the left. The photo is kind of looking right at you. And behind you is your computer with the diffuser light. And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 12 or 13 people. So a couple of people are doing in their own little parts. Are they different parts of the world, or are they all in Australia?
They are actually different parts of the world this time. There's a bunch from US. There's different parts in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple of people from Darwin, a couple from Melbourne, a few from Sydney, and a few from Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're different, so slightly different time zones. Yeah, different accents.
If we think about it in terms of the fuel and the purpose that's deep inside, to because essentially it's about helping other people. You have spent a long time self-care, like a beauty products company. The image of the drawing that people would do to use as a tool to sort of do the self-discovery, and then the NLP course is very other-centered. A lot about your effort every day isn't very especially selfish. You're definitely giving to other people. So what about your personality? How much of you is about giving to other people, and how much of it is using it for yourself?
It's a really, really good question actually, because it's something that I've been pondering on today, and I've sort of noticed myself, we're talking about six core needs of the human needs, and significant is one of those things that I've noticed that I pay attention to a little too much. It's like I want to be recognized, I want to be seen, I want people to like me, I want to stand out, and I want to be noticed. But on the flip side of it, what I really want to do is contribute as much as I can to the society, to the next generation, for people to really grow and evolve themselves. And so, look, you definitely get a lot out of it personally by
Mm-hmm.
watching someone else growing, and I think that's the key. The challenge is you can't work with someone who's not interested,
Of
which
course.
blows my mind, right? Like, why the hell wouldn't you want to grow and develop and know better? And but some people just don't, or they're not aware that they just don't care. They're quite happy just floating around and let life
It's
just do
okay.
its thing.
Yeah.
But we like to jump around, and sitting still is just not an option. I do my meditations, I do my sitting still, but that's literally 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We're done. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so it's just another thing on the schedule. But when I get myself out of it, so I don't know if it's answering your question. So it feels a little selfish for me internally, because I get something out of it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't participate, then I get disappointed. So it's
Sure.
that for me. But then there's an acceptance that if you don't want to do it, that's cool. But if you do, it's amazing. And that alone is just like, the sense of giving. I guess that's what I'm working on now, is to really just give, and whether you take it or leave it, it's then up to
Mm-hmm.
you. If you enjoy it or participate, that's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I really want to work with people that want to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That answer your question. That was really convoluted way of.
It was exactly what it needed to be. So, there's this idea of convergence. There's this idea of, we have all these forces or movements, waves, ideas, connections going on in our subconscious that we're, not really aware of. And every once in a while, a connection happens that changes us, or that we're aware of, that suddenly can be quite significant. But I like the poetry of having these calls. I know it sounds weird to put it this way, but I love the poetry of having these calls where we talk about, okay, where's your head at these days? And I don't want to force it into like, well, we have to talk for an hour. That's the rule.
Yeah.
We can just, I'm happy leaving it at this, and then having you on again when things are clearer, things are more, because if you are in this transition moment, why would I ask you to talk about it? You have to live through that moment.
Mm-mm.
I also feel badly because you've had a long day of Zoom. Like, screw this. Enough looking at the screen.
No, man, I'm enjoying talking to you. I'm enjoying talking about myself. Like, that's awesome. We
Yeah.
can talk forever.
Okay. I agree.
But this may be still in the process of taking shape, but I have had a vision for my 50th birthday, which is not that far now, of where it's going to be. So it's definitely happening. And I think now, every day that I get clearer on what I want out of it, I'm definitely every day that I'm doing something, whether it's 1 hour or a 10-hour day, that's the purpose. That's what's behind it. So when I'm
Sure.
listening today and making notes, it's about how can I implement this knowledge into developing this.
Right.
And the same with what I did with Tony Robbins, which was just, it wasn't the big Tony Robbins workshops. It was just like a little intro that he did online. But that was my very first experience of Tony Robbins. I've been denying his existence. I'm like, oh, this guy is too American. He swears too much. He screams too much. He triggers me too much, right? And I'm like, yeah. But man, he is a great guy. He's a really great guy. And it's interesting about this virtual experiences because, even as a counselor, you think you want to be with someone in the same room and talk to them face to face, but you need their body language and facial expressions and obviously listening to their voices, and you can get everything you need. And in fact, it's even harder to get away with expressions because every little movement you can see, and you can't get away. Whereas, and also what we've discovered is that people in a virtual room, they mostly sit at home, which is their comfort zone. So
sure.
They haven't traveled and experienced traffic. They haven't,
That's a good point.
Had the whole time of leaving home, getting to work or getting to the workshop, and also not sitting in a room with a bunch of people. They can just they are physically completely relaxed in their own space, and and they know if they're going to fall apart all of a sudden, they can just switch the camera off for a minute and blow the nose and have a massive breakdown, and then come back. So
that's interesting.
So it's interesting because, a lot of people that I do know in the industry have said the same thing, which they were actually blown away because they thought, no, we need to be face to face. This is the only way to do it. But in fact, this is even better.
Awesome. Maya, that you just gave me the money shot.
Yes, darling.
That's awesome. What do you mean Stalin? Stalin? like Stalin? Russian Stalin? No, that's great. That's really interesting. That's a super cool insight. Yeah, because you're right. I guess people are in their comfort zones and they can let go. Wow. Isn't your back hurting? Doesn't it kind of suck sitting down all day, staring at a screen?
No, but I get up and I move around and I dance around and I jump around and I go for lunch and I come back and I go to the toilet. But if I have this on, I can go and I can still hear what's going on. And
got it.
We're encouraged to move around and move our energy around, so you don't. Yeah, I'm not used to sitting down, right? In my industry, I'm standing up all day. But it's really nice to be at home, and I can go to the gym and be a bit more relaxed, walk my dog, and do all that beforehand without having to rush and travel and.
Right. Well, let's have a conversation that's not being recorded.
Amazing. I'll see you in 5 years.
The Jewish mother goes on both sides. Why don't you call me? You don't call me in 5 years. Who said that? What? Somebody cut off your fingers and you can't call me? Shit.
Oh, dear Lord.
You're breaking my balls now?
I can call you. I'll call you in about a week and a half.
Sure. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm totally fucking with you, eh? I'm totally fucking with you. I can't record. None of this has been recorded.
Are you serious?
None of it. Is that funny?
Are you serious?
No.
Why not?
What? No. Why not? What? Why not? Not what? What are you talking about? You said, "Am I serious?" I'm not serious.
That's good. We can just talk again. We'll just do it all over again. That's
okay, cool. We'll just do it all over again. Yeah.
In my ice bath.
In your ice bath. That's right. Actually, you're right, Maya. You're right. That's what we should do. We should record an episode of us.
Cold in the ice bath.
No, simultaneously going into the ice bath.
Cool. That's so cute.
Shooting it raw?